someone in your life is unforgettable, and not in the way you wish they were. They text you sporadically, show up unexpectedly, and disappear without a word. Sound familiar? This isn't by accident. It's a game with rules you're not even aware of. Imagine this scenario. It's Monday night. You're waiting on a text. Emily, your friend, was supposed to call, but 3 hours in, your phone's still silent. Meanwhile, the rare compliments she throws your way linger like perfume. Ever wondered why it's the unpredictable ones that leave the deepest marks? Believe it or not, studies suggest that people often focus more on unreliable predictions. Today, we decode why unpredictability burrows into your mind, and why it's a pattern so universal that behavioral scientists have a name for it. Why do unpredictable people captivate us so thoroughly? And why does this dynamic play out so predictably across all sorts of relationships, to the point where it has become a cornerstone of behavioral psychology? Let's start with the concept of intermittent reinforcement. This principle explains why something unpredictable becomes addictive. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner found that pigeons, when rewarded randomly, would peck a leather far more obsessively than if the rewards were consistent. In human terms, that's why you're hooked on the person who texts you back sporadically. The unpredictable nature of their attention makes every interaction feel more significant. Think about your workplace for a moment. That one boss who praises you unexpectedly rather than routinely. Your brain clings to those moments, potentially increasing your emotional investment. A more recent study in 2015 found similar outcomes when unpredictability was applied to online interactions, with participants reporting increased engagement levels. Now consider social media. Platforms utilize intermittent reinforcement by notifying you inconsistently, sometimes with likes, sometimes with messages, sometimes with nothing at all. This inconsistency is designed to keep you coming back, checking more frequently than you need to. But then, why does predictability seem to work for some people? For instance, some individuals thrive on predictable interactions and feel secure in them. Here's the distinction. Predictability builds a sense of safety, but unpredictability creates a sense of obsessive intrigue. For those with secure attachment styles, the consistency provides reassurance and stability, while for those with insecure attachment, the unpredictability might mimic early attachment experiences. Recognizing these dynamics in your life arms you with the ability to manage who truly deserves your brain space. So, if unpredictability hooks us, why do we still look for reliability in the people we care about? Enter the scarcity principle. This psychological concept reveals that we place higher value on things that appear limited. Imagine this. Sarah, in your friend group, is the one who rarely attends gatherings. When she does, her presence feels special, almost coveted. Studies have shown that scarcity can increase perceived value in taste and desirability more than when people thought cookies were abundant. This principle applies to people too. The less available someone is, the more you value their presence. In the business world, this is why consultants charge premium rates for limited slots, creating an aura of exclusivity and importance. Yet, a follow-up examination of scarcity effects in 2010 noted that this principle tends to wane over time, when the scarcity feels manipulated, reflecting an instinctual ability to perceive genuine versus forced scarcity. But there's a catch. Some people intentionally make themselves scarce, not out of genuine unavailability, but as a calculated move to enhance their perceived value. And it often works, because we're wired to respond to such cues. Therefore, while scarcity can attract, it can also repel if overplayed or recognized as a strategy, especially with more emotionally secure individuals who prioritize stability over allure. The fine line between natural and contrived scarcity becomes perceptible, particularly among those who have honed their emotional intelligence, thus allowing for more discerning social interactions. How then does one balance the tension between being scarce and available without overplaying their hand? This leads us to reactance theory. Whenever you feel like your choices are being restricted, your natural response is to want what's being withheld. Visualize this. You reach out to Chris, who suddenly stops responding. The silence is deafening. Your mind races, invents scenarios, feels a desperate need to bridge the gap. The more unavailable Chris seems, the more you desire that contact. A study illustrates this well. When participants were forbidden from choosing a particular option, their desire for it often increased. Another study on consumer behavior found that when options were limited, preference for the restricted items often increased, showing how deeply ingrained reactance is in our decision-making processes. In romantic relationships, your partner's sudden disinterest can trigger this same psychological effect, making you chase them even harder. The problem is, this can lead to unhealthy dynamics where one partner is always in pursuit. For relationships that thrive, there's a balance. Both parties must recognize when reactance is being triggered and work to ensure that their connection doesn't rely solely on the back and forth of availability and withholding. Creating opportunities for open communication can mitigate the flames of reactance, replacing the impulse with mutual understanding. But what happens when the dynamics become too consuming? When it feels like you can't break free? Here we explore the concept of the Zeigarnik effect. Originally coined by psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, this effect describes our brain's tendency to remember uncompleted tasks more vividly than completed ones. Imagine Jacob, who left a sentence hanging in your last conversation. It bothers you, sticks in your mind like a song you can't shake. Zeigarnik found that people often remembered uncompleted tasks better than completed ones. This psychological snag keeps unfinished business alive in your mind. A 2020 study revisiting the Zeigarnik effect found that many participants reported increased anxiety levels when confronted with unresolved tasks, indicating how the effect can both captivate and distress. In friendships or workplaces, a project left midway or an unresolved argument with a colleague lingers much longer. However, not all unfinished tasks remain enticing. They can also turn burdensome, leading to stress or anxiety if not managed. The goal should be to consciously resolve what you can, realizing when it's time to let go of what you can't control or finish. Developing strategies to consciously close these loops can alleviate the mental burden, freeing up cognitive space for more meaningful engagements. But why do some people seem to tug at the strings of your mind, even when you thought you had moved on? Now consider emotional salience, a concept where emotionally charged experiences imprint themselves far more deeply in your memory. Take the argument with your friend Mark. Despite all your positive interactions, it's the sharp words that echo in your head. Studies have shown that negative memories, especially those with strong emotions attached, are remembered more vividly and for longer periods. One research paper found that emotionally charged memories often last longer than neutral ones, creating a bias in how we perceive past events. In professional environments, a single emotionally charged feedback session can overshadow months of routine work. However, reliance on emotional salience can be a double-edged sword. It can deepen bonds when emotions shared are constructive, and equally it can weaken them when those emotions are negative. Recognizing when emotional salience is weighing you down can help you distinguish between what's meaningful and what's merely loud. By focusing on emotional regulation and context, you can reframe memories, allowing positivity to guide your experiences more than their negative counterparts. So the next time Emily's silence keeps you up, remember, it feels unforgettable, not because of what it is, but because of the psychological tapes playing in your mind. Understanding these rules helps you decide who really deserves to occupy that space. Because ultimately, it's only the unfinished stories that keep us wanting more.